Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Coasters and Places here, and in today's video I want to talk about and rank all 11 B&M, Hollinger and Mabillard floorless coasters in the US that are currently operating. So B&M makes a lot of different coasters, a lot of different varieties, and I've done that hyper coaster video, I can link in the comments down below, and I want to do the floorless version of that video today, just ranking all those floorless coasters and how I like them. I have been fortunate enough to ride all of these, and some of them definitely greater than others, and some honestly they're pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. And before we get started in this video though, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and it just helps my channel grow and I appreciate your support so much. Let's get started. Ranking number 11. Number 11 is Firebird at Six Flags America. This originally opened in 1990 at Six Flags Great America as Iron Wolf as a stand-up coaster, and this was the first B&M ever to open, so it does have some historical significance to it. However, this thing is incredibly rough. I can just imagine how rough maybe it would have been as a stand-up, but as a floorless, oh my goodness, it's really honestly too rough to enjoy for me. It's got a lot of head banging, and the turn after the corkscrew is particularly painful. I mean, the inversions though, I mean, they're fun I guess, but it would be so much better of a ride if we could eliminate that head banging and it wasn't just so rough. Plus, it's pretty short, doesn't really do a whole lot, but it was the first one, so. Number 10 is Rougarou. This is another floorless conversion of the old stand-up named Mantis, and this is located at Cedar Point. And this suffers from the same problem as Firebird does, in that it's pretty rough and it has some head banging. I wouldn't say it is as rough as Firebird, it's definitely more tolerable, and I actually can enjoy Rougarou, but definitely can't ride it more than once in a row or I'm going to get a headache. And yeah, just it's rough still, and I hate that because the layout honestly isn't awful. The turn after the the inversions are actually forceful too. Like the incline loop in particular, it's pretty forceful. It's a good inversion. The second half of the coaster is weak, in particular Rougarou, but I mean, the first half is pretty strong with the layout, but it just really needs to be smoother, and then Rougarou would be more enjoyable. Number 9, I have Patriot at California's Great America, and this is really a step up from the first two, Firebird and Rougarou, and that we're not going to have so much roughness now with the rest of the list. So Patriot is another floorless conversion, but this one was converted from what was called Vortex. This is an earlier B&M as well. It's very short and it only has 2 inversions, so that's why I have it ranked pretty low on my list. But it's not rough, so that's automatically going to give it points over any rough coasters. It's not very intense. But in the back you can get some pretty nice pull through the loop and the corkscrew that it does have in its layout, but it's just short and the layout is just kind of short and sweet. For number 8, I have Scream, which is located at Six Flags Magic Mountain. So this does have a bad setting. It's simply just a parking lot coaster. It does get a lot of hate for that. Yeah, I really do wish it had a better setting, but it is what it is. They just chose to plop it where they put it. So the inversions on this, they're a lot of fun. The loop in particular is powerful and it has some very snappy corkscrews. An absolutely amazing zero-G roll on this coaster as well. Now, nowhere near to the extent of Rougarou or Firebird, but this is a little rattly and rough in parts. Sometimes I've noticed more than others. Again, not terrible and not to the extent of Rougarou or Firebird, but it's definitely noticeable, definitely there. No, it's just, unfortunately knocks it down my ranking some. And number 7 favorite floorless coaster in America is Medusa at Six Flags Great Adventure. It's a long ride. It's actually just like Scream, the layout, except it has a better setting and it does not have a rattle. This coaster used to be called Bizarro. You may know it more as that than Medusa. Not really sure why they changed the name. It has some good near misses in the layout. And again, it is smooth. It has 7 inversions, so a good amount of inversions. It's unfortunately not as intense as it looks. Like, it looks more intense than it would be, so it does lack some intensity, but it still has a 0G roll in particular that has some good hang time and some good whip, a varied layout, and it has some good theming with it as well. It's just not really that intense. Wish it was more intense. Number 6 is a floorless coaster I feel like it's not really talked about a lot. It's the Batman The Dark Knight coaster at Six Flags New England. It probably gets overshadowed by other coasters in the park that it is in and other floorless in general, but it's still a very solid ride. It's smooth. It has a well-paced layout, and as a bonus perk, I love this, it does not have a mid-course brake run. That's awesome. It is a little bit short, but it does have a good first drop to start out, and in my opinion, the highlight of this ride is the 0G roll. It's surprisingly intense. Definitely the highlight, best part of the ride. And the inversions in general, though, they're fun and whippy, but they're not super forceful. So kind of like Medusa before, it just lacks some intensity. Still a smooth ride, still a fun ride, and my 6th favorite floorless coaster. Starting out our top 5, we're going to go ahead and start with Hydra the Revenge at Dorney Park. In my opinion on this whole list, this is probably the most underrated floorless that there is on this list, maybe period. It's a solid ride. So it starts out, you get that JoJo roll, which is an incredible moment, and it has some great hang time. Just right out of the station, here's a JoJo roll. And the first drop, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It has, and the coaster has a very unique layout, really nice setting on a hill there at Dorney Park. The Hardline roll is also a good inversion, has some hang time with it, and there's even a surprise couple nice pops of airtime during the course. So again, that JoJo roll I think really makes Hydra stand out overall. Really great ride. Not really a lot of complaints about it. Maybe could use a few more elements, a little bit more intensity, but I still do really like Hydra though. Number 4 is Medusa, but this one is at Discovery Kingdom. This is highly considered to be the better Medusa, and I definitely understand why. It has a much better layout. It's very smooth, has an incredible first drop, and it's a long coaster too. Typically, I always love a long ride, so that gives bonus points to me. It has a great vertical loop as well, the solid layout overall, and all of the inversions are great. Really no complaints. It's a pretty well-rounded floorless coaster, well-rounded coaster in general. I just have 3 floorless that I like better. My number 3rd favorite floorless is going to be Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando. So I know a couple people have said that they've noticed a rattle. I've never really noticed a rattle on this coaster. I think it's a good long ride with a unique and fun layout. It has very intense inversions, and the layout is full of a lot of positives. So the first half of the layout has large elements where you either get pushed like down into your seat or you get whipped side to side. Either way, you're getting some pretty intense elements, pretty intense and crazy for sure. And the second half has trenches and tunnels, provide a lot of good interaction there, and you can't beat how it looks, as it looks like it dives into the water during the second half there. Absolutely fantastic ride. I think it's a great addition to SeaWorld Orlando. Really helped kind of put this as a coaster destination. Plus, I think it's a pretty coaster as well. It's a good floorless, but there's a couple I picked over from. Number 2 is Dominator at King's Dominion. This is actually originally from Java Lake. The same name. So this is actually the longest beginning floorless, not only in the US, but actually in the whole world. So that's a very unique kind of bear that Dominator has. So it's a very easy layout overall, I think, and it's good positives. I really like the as a very intense overall, and the monsters are amazing as well. And again, with this being a long coaster, it's more like a long ride, so get with waiting on or just enjoy it longer. But with that being a long ride, it doesn't ruin the pacing at all, which I really like. However, I do have one floorless. If you didn't already guess it, my number 1 favorite floorless coaster in the US is the at Six Flags in Western Texas. And the 0G roll and the Cobra roll are the